What do you think NATO needs to do to reflect today's global order and the needs of the allies that are members of it?
So fundamentally, NATO needs to continue to change, and the reason why NATO has succeeded for more than 70 years is that we have changed every time the world is changing. And I don't fully agree with you that NATO is changing slowly. When needed, we have proven actually very able to change very quickly. After the fall of the Berlin Wall, the reason why NATO was established, the Soviet Union, the Warsaw Pact, didn't exist anymore. And just as a few months, years after that, we were able to do something we have never done before, to end the conflicts outside our own territory in the Balkans. And then the day after 9/11, we invoked our Article 5 clause or collective defense clause and went into the fight against terrorism together with the United States. The most important thing we can do is to make sure that we have strong international institutions and that NATO remains a strong alliance, both militarily and politically. Because I'm always afraid of those people who try to predict exactly what will happen in the future. Those people are always wrong. But what we know is that if we stand together, if we have a strong united alliance, then we can manage whatever happens in the future.
One thing I would like to start with in terms of my own president is when he was running for president, he said quite famously, NATO is obsolete. What role did you play in convincing him that actually NATO is something that he as president should continue to support?
So my message to President Trump, as it has been to previous US presidents and in all my meetings with people from the United States, is that a strong NATO is good for Europe, but it's also very good for the United States. You know, it's a unique thing that the United States has so many friends and allies as it has in NATO 29 friends and allies, which actually always stands together with the United States. And that is something no other big power has. We saw that after 9/11, but we also see it today. If you're concerned about the rise of China, the economic, the military power of China, then of course it's even more important for the United States to stand together with other allies. Because together we are 50% of the world's military might and 50% of the world's economic might, almost 1 billion people.
Let me move you to 2030. It's right behind you there as well. If you have the success with your legacy that you'd like, what's the way that NATO looks most different in 2030 from the way it appears and functions today?
But that's not the way I'm thinking. Also, I believe that the best thing I can do is that NATO remains agile, able to adapt, and then it will be the people that runs this alliance in 2030 that decides exactly what that means. Because I think it's extremely hard to predict how the world will look like in 2030, but I am absolutely certain that as long as we have a strong alliance, we will be able to deal with whatever happens. And whatever challenges we see in 2030. What I can say is that my main objectives are the following. First, that we need NATO as a strong military alliance, and when we see other countries invest heavily in modern military capabilities, we see new technologies. That means that we need to invest and modernize and increase the readiness of our forces. Second, we should become stronger as a political alliance, because NATO is a platform that brings together North America and Europe every day, and we need to use that political strength also to address a lot of other challenges we face together. And thirdly, we should become a more global alliance. NATO should continue to be a regional military alliance, North America and Europe, but we need a global approach because the threats and the challenges we face, they are global. Especially with the rise of China. That has security implications for NATO, and that has to be taken into account when we now modernize, change NATO to a new and more challenging security environment.